Life-Changing Magic of Marie Kondo. That is not the correct title of the book, but it is the theme of the book that I'm talking about today, which is Letter from Japan, the memoir slash life advice book from Marie Kondo of the Netflix fame of the life-changing magic of tidying up. So, hello, thank you for checking out this video. My name is Zach. This channel is mostly science fiction and fantasy reviews, but occasionally, yes, I read non-sci-fi fantasy books like business, comics, manga, personal development, and books like The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo. So I picked this up on a whim from my local library because yes, I am what you would maybe call a weeb. I love Japanese culture for ages since high school, watching anime, reading manga, all things Japan, visiting Japan. But yes, I also read Life Changing Magic of Tidying Up when it became the sensation that it did, watched the Netflix show, which became the sensation that it did, and followed Marie Kondo tangentially. I'm not like a super fan or anything. Just, of course, know of her through the book and the Netflix series. But when I saw she had a new book coming out, I thought I'd give it a try. It's not super long, and it's rather interesting. If you enjoy Japanese culture, I would say it's worth checking out. Even if you don't have any interest in tidying up your home, that's who this book is for. It's someone with an interest in, I guess, Marie Kondo as a person, as well as larger Japanese culture. And so if you're interested in international business, Japanese culture, this is for you. So what is it exactly? It's vague to describe because it's not really about anything. It's sort of about Marie Kondo, but sort of more about just Japanese culture in general. So there's 6 chapters in the book that kind of break down her philosophy of that what shaped her growing up. So the chapters are cherish, perfect, consider, harmonize, purify, and savor. So if you know Marie Kondo from the book or the show, it really follows that parallel of cherishing things and being in the moment. So that is kind of Marie Kondo's philosophy, right? Does it spark joy? That's the joke, the meme, or the catchphrase. And this book sort of delves into what that means for Marie as a person and what shaped her to develop that philosophy and how that's kind of intertwined into the Japanese culture as a whole. So it felt like talking to like a Japanese best friend, explaining culture together as they just walk through this anecdotes of their life and how just cultural norms, cultural things, changed their upbringing, not change it, but affected their upbringing and then shaped them into who they are today. So it's how Japanese culture shaped Marie Kondo to who she is today. Some of the standout ones that, of course, I, of course, empathized with or called out the most were when she talks about one chapter was on cuteness. So this chapter of how you might see like high school girls with a trinket on their backpack or signs in Japan, how they use cute characters or mascots at like train stations, these things that we see on the internet and we think are maybe funny and interesting as Westerners looking outside, looking in, but how that embodies a lot of what makes Japan Japan and how they find spark joy with these cute characters, how it kind of lowers the threat level of certain events and softens the idea of like safety. It makes us think about safety when you see the cute character with the hard hat on. So I love this. The chapter on like cuteness and kawaii culture was fun and interesting. Some other things that maybe we as Westerners can latch onto was when she talks about her brother, who is apparently an otaku, who or like a super nerd, super fan, reading manga growing up, loving certain characters, and how Marie growing up was exposed to that. So how that's like not really weird in their culture because it's just part of the culture. Whereas here in the West, even though it's of course gaining acceptance, but I remember when I was first watching anime back in the 90s, it was not seen as socially acceptable as it is today to watch Akira or Ghost in the Shell, these early 90s movies that we first had access here into America, even though, yes, they're filmed with adult themes, adult content. They're made for teenagers, adults, and yes, there of course are kids shows like Pokemon, but there are adult shows just in a different medium, in the animated medium versus a live action show, which of course now in 2025 it's more acceptable to watch animated series. But anyways, that anecdote aside, mini rant, but yes, that was an example of where she talks about culture of anime, manga, fandom in general, and she used an example of like a friend she had that was super into an idol or some other like celebrity character, and how that like kind of idol worship, which again, to parallel where we are in the United States, we are starting to see that more socially acceptable with the rise of maybe not J-pop idols, but K-pop idols. We're getting more exposed to K-pop culture and idol culture, which has been around forever in Asia. But yeah, she gives an anecdote about that and her other kind of just general backstory, where she talks about growing up as working as a shrine maiden, how that obviously played a huge influence on the way she looks at sparking joy and taking care of objects. But the chapters that cherish, perfect, consider, harmonize, that's maybe a broad term. Like if you think about social harmony, yes, that's a very common like Japanese culture. Don't be the one that stands out. Everyone wants to get along as a cohesive society. So she delves into these kind of ideas and cultural norms that us as Westerners may not be as familiar with, but she breaks them down. And it is a very fun, friendly, neighborly, best friend kind of manner. So I thought it was interesting to hear again one person's perspective on a whole culture generalized to one person, but their experience with the culture, and reflect on her own experience as she kind of reflects on the life post Netflix. So she contrasts spending time in America, how she sees things differently due to spending much time here for the show, for the book tours, for all the celebrities she got afterwards, and reflecting on that time of her life, both the early life and then also that during the Netflix time, the post Netflix time, and how just American culture impacted her, and how that upbringing in Japanese culture brought her where she is with her kind of view and outlook on the life changing magic of tidying up. So, all in all, to keep this rather short, it was interesting. It's for someone who is a fan of Japanese culture and wants to learn more about Japanese culture in a kind of non academic way, and also someone who has a passing interest in Marie Kondo. So, those are my thoughts and review. Generally favorable review. I thought it was a good read, worth my time, for Letter from Japan by Marie Kondo. So thanks for watching this video and have a great day.